Hello, this is Randy. Welcome back to another episode of Brain Break with Randy and Keitho. When I was a scout leader, I had a young man that I really enjoyed working with. He was a tremendous athlete, a natural leader. He was a great kid. His father was a bit of a rebel. He chose not to pay income taxes, considered that it wasn't legal. Because of that, he couldn't make contributions to the church, but he also had about 50% more income than the rest of us did because he wasn't paying his tithing. He wasn't paying taxes. He hadn't been caught and prosecuted yet, but they were always worried about that. His wife had a job. She paid taxes, as far as I know, because she was able to go to the temple where this man couldn't. But one time during the summer, he took his son with him on a job up to Utah. And the guy was a bit of a nut in that he always felt that rules applied to everybody but him. An example would be that he knew where he could land his plane by the highway, and he could go to a gas station and buy gas. It wasn't aviation fuel, but it was cheaper. And so he put some of that in his plane, and he took off down this little side road. That was the last anybody saw of him or his son. They didn't find them until the following year. They had crashed the plane. I'm not sure if they were figured out why, but I had arranged to help the mother, because she'd lost this income, to help the mother get them both declared dead so that she could obtain life insurance. Now, at the time I was in the life insurance business, I was going to show her how she could invest that money and protect it, because she was worried about the taxing authorities coming and taking it away from her. Well, the day that the policy was delivered, the proceeds of the policy, she immediately turned to this good agent and said, "Hey, I'd like to reinvest this and put it in a couple of annuities, and I want to put it in the names of my two minor daughters." The guy said, "Okay." He was just looking at extra commission. He was delivering a check, going to get part of it back, probably only 4%. 4%'s better than nothing, though, right? So anyway, they did that. I went over to talk to her, and she told me what she'd done. I was just like, "Oh, you didn't?" She said, "Yeah, I did." I said, "Well, the taxing authorities aren't going to go after that money, but you can't touch it either. In fact, your daughters won't be able to touch it without taxes and penalties until they're 59 and a half. These girls were still in elementary school." She goes, "He didn't tell me that." And I said, "Well, you didn't ask him, or he may not have known, but I don't know what to tell you. You don't have access to that money, even if it's in your kids' names. It's in their names. It isn't your money anymore. It's their money." "Well, I can make them take it out." I said, "Actually, you can't, because it's the way you set it up." He said, "I feel bad for you, but in trying to protect that money from the taxes which were legitimately owed on it, shot yourself in the foot." Didn't have near as much respect for her after that. I don't know whatever happened to that money, but those girls are getting close to that 59 and a half. So we might find out soon. Anyway, my whole thought in this whole process is to say rules are there for a good reason. When I was in Venezuela as a missionary, they used to sell aviation gasoline right on the street. They just had a pump in every gas station that if you had a car that could take it, like a Corvette or a Camaro or a Mustang, Ferrari, Lamborghini, you could actually get it right there and put it in. They didn't tax. Gas was cheaper than water in Venezuela. We were paying, now this is 40 years ago, we were paying $1 a gallon for drinking water in big 5-gallon jugs. Gasoline was like 15 cents a gallon. It was cheap. In fact, I used to work as a missionary proselyte among the Corvette club owners, baptized several. It was very interesting getting to know those guys. I'd worked as a mechanic before my mission, and so I could talk to them a little bit. I worked on Porsches and Volkswagens and Audis, but I still understood engines. So I knew the difference between low octane fuel and high octane fuel. My whole point in telling you this story is when these guys in the Corvettes would gun their engines, and then they would let off the gas as they'd go over a bump in the road, their exhaust pipes would be red hot. All of the unburned fuel in the exhaust would then light up as they were they took their foot off the gas, and it would just send flames out of the exhaust pipe. So it was really cool to watch, but it also kind of scared you, like, I hope they know what they're doing. So I'm not sure where he got the idea that it would be wise to drive his airplane into a gas station. But the gas station, frankly, they got caught with having, instead of a hose being a dozen feet long, it was like 40 feet long. There's no reason for a gas station to have that length of hose. I don't care if it's for a tractor. But see, a farmer would never buy fuel at that kind of a site because they pay taxes on it. Whereas a farmer doesn't pay taxes on his, because he isn't using the roads on his fuel. So they get delivered either in drums or hopefully in bulk, and they have their own tank on property. My point is just this. Sometimes we get too smart for our own good. Sometimes we think we're tricky. While I know she could have used that money at some point in her life, because the way she had treated it, she basically robbed herself of that money. Now, it was nice that she gifted that to her two young daughters, but their older children didn't get a penny of it. That's probably okay because they were doing okay. So I don't know what to say. It just opened my eyes that you need to be careful and not think you know everything. Sometimes it's worth making sure you know what you're doing before you actually commit to that action. Thank you so much for joining me for one more story. I hope you have a great night or day whenever you're listening to this. We'll talk to you soon. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends about us. And if you can, leave a comment. Bye now.